I'm just playing, man. I'm not even listening to anything. Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. All right, man. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. As you guys do know, we have the Grand Chess Tour going on. So we have Superbet Romania, and I have the round 9 game for you between Wesley So and Gukesh Dommaraju. As you guys may or may not know, Gukesh D, he did qualify to play in the World Championships later this year. Just turned 18, so he's the youngest by far to play in the World Championship and can possibly be the World Champion. So that is pretty crazy. But all of my people that are coming from the Philippines, I will say Maraming Salamat. Anybody who is coming from Tamil Nadu, I will say Nanri. If you guys are ready to go, man, let's take a look, see what we got for this game. Gotta get my volume up. I just had it up a second ago. All right, so we got D4, we got knight to F6, so we start off with an Indian game. We do see the move C4, we got E6, and then we see Wesley So inviting a Nimzo Indian with knight to C3, and that is actually what we see in the game. Bishop goes to B4. It's not the absolute worst in this position because you will possibly have a lot of pawns in the center of the board if you actually see bishop capturing and pawn capturing. But it is definitely much better when you see a D5 because you're going to have a very healthy pawn structure. But we'll get into that in a minute. We do see the move E3. We got castles by black. We got bishop to D3. We got the move D5. And this is what I was telling you guys before. Now, what you will have, if you do see bishop taking C3, pawn taking C3, you do kind of have this structure here. Like, I'll just put it on the board real quick. Let's make a random move. This is not what we saw in the game, obviously. But in this position, you do have the ability either to take the pawn here or just allow black to do it. In either one of those cases, it does correct your pawn chain, so you are good to go. But like I said, we did not see that. We actually saw the move knight to F3, and then we saw pawn taking C4, which does eliminate that as well. And then bishop does take, and you see that our pawn structure is healthier for white. We do see the move B6. You kind of have to get this bishop out some kind of way. You really don't have, you really kind of want to put the knight here, maybe something like so. You know, and so putting bishop here really doesn't really accomplish much. You can maybe do something like this, but it is definitely better to put it on this open diagonal here. So that is what we see coming up in the game. B6, we got the move A3. Pawn takes C3, pawn takes C3, and you see that white still has a healthy pawn structure. They do kind of have a little bit of an issue with this isolated rook pawn, but we do kind of see what Wesley So does with that coming up. We got bishop to B7. We got castles up by white. We see queen to E7, and queen to E7 is the novelty of the game. Very logical square. I mean, you know, you're not going to put it on D7. You do have an idea of putting knight B to D7. We got the move A4, and this is kind of getting the idea rolling that I was telling you guys a second ago. But we have actually reached the point in the game. There is a very nice move that black can play, and Gukesh D actually does play it in this position. If you want to go ahead and try to find that move, go ahead and do so. Okay, so those of you who have been watching my videos for years, you should get this, and if you don't, I'm sad that you didn't get it. But even though we don't have a D4, D5 pawn lock, it is a very good thing to try to push one of these pawns, get a pawn break in, to try to break down white structure because they do have this nice majority in the center of the board. You obviously can't play this because knight is just going to take it in and you're just going to cry and be sad. So we do see the move C5, and that is what was played in the game. Just trying to make an effort to break down what white has going on. Now, I was mentioning before with this pawn right here, there is two different ideas that is present in this position. So we see A5 coming up here, but there's two different ideas. Number one, when you do have a fianchetto type of position where you have like a B6 or a G6, or, you know, in white's position, the people have actually created what we call a hook. Especially if you have a situation where you have a G6 played, you have some slight weaknesses in front of a king. You know, you do have the ability to start to push this H pawn up to try to break down what black has in front of their structure, or white or whoever is playing the fianchetto. So that is one of the ideas that is present here. Now, the other thing that I was mentioning before is that this is an isolated rook pawn, and you really don't too much want isolated rook pawns. So you can definitely use this pawn dynamically to try to chip down at what black has. They do kind of have a majority here on the queen side, and then you are just trying to get rid of your weakness that you have. So we do see Wesley So successfully do that. We got queen going into C7, pawn takes B6, pawn takes B6. We do see rook taking A8, bishop taking AA, and then we do see the move queen E2. And like I was showing you before, you know, when we did have an isolated rook pawn, now we have gotten rid of that pawn if we are white. And we just kind of have to make sure that we are watching, you know, this here, because we definitely don't want these pawns to get rolling and maybe create a pass pawn over here like on the b5. We got knight b to d7, the move I was telling you guys about before. We got bishop to b2. So at some point, white would definitely love to kind of get rid of these pawns that are in the way and really maximize these bishops. And if you are black, this is definitely one of the things you need to be paying attention to. Absolutely under no circumstances do you trade this pawn. We do not want to give this bishop up for a knight. This position can open up very quickly, and these double bishops can actually be really, really huge monsters. So you definitely should not see black trading. We got bishop going to c6. We got rook over to a1. Queen goes to b7. We do see bishop to a6. We got the queen going over to c7. We got bishop back to d3, queen back to b7. We got bishop back to a6, queen to c7, bishop d3, queen to b7, and bishop to a6. And we do have a draw by threefold repetition. So it's not the most absolutely exciting game ever. But like I said, in this situation, you know, you kind of have an option of taking here. This does hit the queen right here. This does hit the queen, but it does give white just a little bit of something in this position. So like I said, you do give away your bishop for a knight, and white now has double bishops. So they are in a little bit of a better situation than they were before. So you do have to kind of keep those imbalances in the game and make sure that you are not giving your opponent too much. So that is that. All of my people that are coming from the Philippines, let me see what I can say. Masaya Komakiti Kangmuli, I appreciate you guys very much. Magandang umaga, magandang hapon. It is really, really early. I think it's 9:14 in the morning over there. Something like that. Anybody who is coming from Tamil Nadu, I will say Vanakkam and Nandri. I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by, and I'm gonna see you guys next time.